This is a spicy story, ladies and gentlemen. This one is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Leaving My Wife at the Airport After She Overpacked and Got Charged for an Overweight Suitcase? The crows have eyes, and don't you dare look at them. My wife and I were flying out for a week-long vacation that we'd been planning for months. Everything was set, hotels booked, excursions planned, and I even double-checked all the baggage restrictions to avoid any surprises at the airport. I'm the kind of person who likes to be prepared, so I packed light and made sure that I was within the airline's weight limit. The night before the trip, I noticed my wife's suitcase was bursting at the seams. I casually mentioned that it looked overpacked and asked if she had double-checked the weight limit. She brushed me off, saying she needed all the clothes and shoes that she packed, and that it would be fine. I didn't push the issue, figuring she knew what she was doing. The next morning at the airport, we check in and surprise, surprise, her suitcase is way over the weight limit by more than 15 pounds. The airline staff told us it would be an extra $100 to check it, or she could take some things out. I suggested that she move some stuff into her carry-on or even into my suitcase since I had extra room, but she flat out refused, saying it would be too much of a hassle to reorganize everything at the airport and that she'd just pay the fee. At this point, I was already a bit annoyed because I had warned her this might happen. I thought she was being stubborn, and we had an argument right there at the counter. She said I was making a big deal out of nothing and insisted that we pay the fee and move on, but honestly, I was fed up. Here's where I might be the asshole. Instead of paying the fee or continuing to argue, I just walked away. I told her I was going to the gate and that she could meet me after dealing with her suitcase. I figured she'd pay the fee and catch up, but when I got to the gate, I started cooling down and decided to board the plane. I thought she'd probably be mad, but she had time to get on before takeoff. The plane took off, and she didn't get on. As soon as that plane started moving, I'd be like, Marshall, where's the marshal? Where's the marshal? Get me off of this plane now because I'm going to die. Guess what?
You wouldn't even be on the plane.
I wouldn't. That's true. I wouldn't be on the plane. I wouldn't be on the plane in the first place. Mostly because I wouldn't know how to get there unless she'd showed me the way.
His last vacation.
She texted me after we landed, furious, saying that she had missed the flight because she was dealing with the baggage issue. I felt guilty, but also kind of justified. She was the one who refused to compromise at the counter, and I didn't want to be late for the flight because something so preventable. She's now calling me a jerk for abandoning her at the airport, and she's stuck waiting for the next available flight. But from my perspective, I gave her the option to handle it, and she just made things harder on herself. So am I the astronaut for leaving her at the airport and flying out without her? Edit! Can't reply to any more posts because somebody got me banned for 7 days for replying with the word you when calling them a relationship doormat rather than referring to them in the third person as is allowed on Reddit. Silly me. For too many whipped Redditors who apparently bend over backwards to enable their narcissistic partners and refer to that one-way compromise as teamwork, genuinely feel very sad for you people. Ladies and gentlemen, to give her feedback on this story, we have the one and only Candy Thunder.
I think you misused the word narcissistic partner, or maybe you were just talking about yourself. Sorry, I'm blind reacting. I'd never heard this story until just now, but where's all my overpackers? I feel like they're all in here. Where are they?
Where are my overpackers
at? But also, like, who doesn't get to the airport like 2 hours before their flight takes off? Because how was she still dealing with
right.
Unless she got stuck in like this TSA line that just wouldn't move. I don't know.
And at least that furthers your point with the super on the YouTube side. Yeah, it's like her dealing with it had to have been her continuing to argue with the staff instead of just paying the fee. But she said she was going to pay the fee, so I don't understand.
I hear his story and I don't believe it because his far too many whipped Redditors who apparently bend over backwards to able their narcissistic partners. Is overpacking a narcissistic trait? Like, is that, I mean, she didn't want to move her stuff. I get that. You pack everything. I get it. Pay the fee.
We got 5 kids. We had full suitcases.
Yeah, just pay the fee, like, and move on if that's what you want to do. If you're overweight and you know you're overweight, pay the fee. Like, that's why they're there. But I don't know that overpacking and not wanting to redo her packing makes her a narcissist. I mean, well, yes, she could have moved her shit. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. But like, I get it. Like, you put stuff in your suitcase and you do it in a specific order. And I understand both sides on that point. But his bend over backwards to enable bullshit is just like he didn't
help himself.
There's your personality, dude.
And actually, at the end of this story, I felt for him But then his replies to people
Yeah.
proved that he was just looking for validation here and wasn't actually interested in anyone's opinion that didn't align with his
Yeah.
pre-existing opinion. So that did not help him at all on the
Yeah.
scale. I do think it's an ESH though. They both suck.
Because she overpacked, or because she
Not
was
because she
unwilling
overpacked.
to compromise.
And not because she was unwilling to compromise. I mean, she had ample warning, brushed it off. He tried to prevent this from happening. She brushed it off. And then when it was at the counter, so really what I think she sucks about the most is if she wanted to just pay it and get on the freaking plane, pay it and get on the freaking plane. She's an asshole for missing the flight because whatever she chose to do there was a result of her own lack of preparedness before, which she was warned about. So she got herself into that pickle. That's what she's an asshole for. I think she has every right to be pissed at him for getting on the plane and leaving her, because that's not what you do with your partner. Your partner up, you're right there with them, buddy. Like, it's just, that's how it works. You don't leave them behind, because guess what? You're not taking a trip together anymore. Somehow, like, she had the luggage issue, but you're going to come out of this with the baggage.
Lone Star, there you go. I'll be damned if I unpack and someone sees my underwear. I'm paying the fee.
Just pay the fee.
Pay it.
I
Yeah.
thought it was probably more of a, if it was already bursting at the seams, she knew as soon as you creaked a zipper on that
There
freaking
you
thing,
go.
it's all going poof. And there's no putting it back in there.
But I do try to weigh our suitcases.
She does.
I don't have a luggage scale, but I'll stand on the thing and like do this and just hold it, and then I'll weigh myself. That's what we do. But you wouldn't leave me there. You would have had Navy and the kids, and I would have been at the counter, or vice
Even
versa.
if it was just a you and me thing,
Yeah.
you know, the
You would, yeah,
rare
for sure. You wouldn't
once in
have
a
left me.
lifetime opportunities we have to go places ourselves, like we did in Tennessee a while back. Yeah, absolutely wouldn't have left you.
ESH means everyone sucks here, so they're not. Doesn't mean that they're equal assholes. It just means that they both are asshole. They both have asshole behavior, and I will agree. I think it's ESH, but he seems like a dick. Like, he just seems like an asshole.
Well, his
Like, you think like
not
it's his personality.
not until he responded to commenters, though, because his story, and maybe it's the way that he framed the story, and because he was looking for validation, that's just the way that we got across it.
Yeah, but who's not standing up when that plane, like, you see them closing the doors, like, you
Yeah,
feel
had
the plane.
ample warning to know.
Who's not standing up and being like, my wife is not here, like,
Yeah.
my wife is not on this plane,
Right.
Like,
And then the story would have been, is my wife the asshole for holding up an entire plane? And yes, absolutely,
For
she
sure.
would be. And she's still an asshole for getting her to the point that that she's at, but so is he.
I just don't understand how she got stuck. Like, if you're already at the counter and you're already paying the fee.
I don't know.
and, like,
I mean,
how are you-
our last trip, we got stuck at a couple counters, and it was a little bit of a shit show. So,
Right.
I mean, it's possible for a simple thing to become a not simple thing at an airport real quick.
Or maybe they got out of line and she had to get back in line,
Yeah.
and then it was like the TSA line got clogged. I mean, yeah, for sure.